Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to Tuesday's English lesson. So today we're going to start using some of those skills we've been looking at over the last few days, and the texts we've been looking, and we've been magpieing ideas, and we're going to have a go at writing our own setting description. And I'm going to model some writing to you, which will hopefully help you with your work. So I want to just start by visiting our knowledge organiser again. And as you know, we're looking at the text features of fantasy stories, and that detailed description is crucial. No matter what fantasy story you read, and whether it comes through the text or the pictures, it's about creating that image for the reader in their mind. And to do that, we're going to focus on specific grammatical features, which I'm going to show you and model to you today, and adverbial phrases. Remember, adverbial phrases, often we refer to these as fronted adverbials because they come at the start of a sentence. They can refer to when, for example, later that day, or how, silently, the mouse crept forward, or it might be where, so under the treetops, in the forest. And we have to remember and practice all those different kinds of ones in our writing. We're going to go back to our Leon and the Place Between story today, and dealing with these two plot points of when Leon arrives at the tent. And remember, in the story we had that picture to start with. Well, today we're going to think of what writing might go with that picture. All the time we're writing, we want to keep in our minds what effect do we want to have on the reader, and what can we infer from this description. Does it help the reader to build up vivid pictures in their mind like these? We will use some of the ideas we magpied in yesterday's lesson of this setting description, and that's why I asked you to start to build up your vocabulary vault pages, because I think that will help you today with our writing. So the image we're going to start off today is this one, where Leon arrives at the tent, this magic tent, before he goes in there. And if you've got a copy of the book, remember at the beginning there isn't any writing to go with this page, so we're going to provide that for the reader. It might help us to focus on the fantastics lenses like we use in book talk. And in particular, when we're describing a setting, be thinking of characters' feelings, what they notice, what can they touch, what can they smell, maybe what they can taste, and what sounds we hear. So the reader kind of feels immersed in that setting. Okay, I'm going to share with you, I want us to take that image of the tent, and I'm going to share with you some of my thought processes, and afterwards I'd like you to pause the video and do the same with your ideas. You can magpie some of mine, and hopefully you'll have some different ones of your own as well. So I'm going to start off, and first of all think about the tent itself. It's a magic tent. It's a dome-shaped tent. It's a strong tent. It's special because the special events take place inside that tent. The field where the tent stood is big. We might use the word vast. It's quiet where that tent is, and all is calm. The sky is blue. We notice the white doves fluttering in the sky. I would say there's a gentle breeze because you can see those ribbons blowing in the breeze. Going back to the tent, it's quite dominant, especially because it's in the foreground of the picture. It's tall. It stands proud. It's majestic. It holds many secrets inside. There's lots of stars throughout the book. Those stars are twinkling. Those stars have sparks. There's bunting on the tent with ribbons. And then the fabric of the tent. We might describe it as a canvas. It's gold. It's heavy. It's thick. It might have a velvet texture to it. It's delicate. So if you see my thought, that's just my thought process. I'd like you to do the same and remember to focus on those lenses because it helps to categorise your ideas. So once we've done that, we're ready now to start to write our description. I'm going to try some modelled writing for you. Apologies, this is the first time I've tried this with my electronic pen, and I'll try and explain my thought process as we're going through. So I'm deciding to start with a verb. Standing tall and proud, like a special statue. The magic tent awaited its keen audience. Just going to stop there a second. I decided to start with a verb because I picked up that from yesterday's text and I think it's really nice and it shows me it's quite dominant there. I've chosen tall and proud. They were the adjectives I had on my mind map, and I wanted to put a simile in there, like a special statue, and the example yesterday had a simile. And I wanted to give it the idea, the reader the idea that the magic tent is we can personify it and it's waiting its audience, and its audience, like Leon, are keen to go inside. I'm now going to start with a fronted adverbial. At the top of the tent, gold ribbons dangled majestically in the gentle breeze, spreading its magic through the quiet sky. Oops. So I started my sentence there with a fronted adverbial, and I wanted to tell the reader what the ribbons are doing and to add to that magic, and that's why I chose the word majestically. And it's not a storm, it was a gentle breeze. Do you remember that's what we put on our concept map? And the idea it's spreading its magic through that quiet sky. And then I'm going to start a new paragraph. And I'm going to describe the tent in more detail about the fabric. The gold, delicate fabric of the strong tent encompassed all the magic about to spark. And here I wanted to have that idea that it's holding everything, this strong tent, and everything is about to happen inside, and I magpied that word encompass from yesterday's work. Do you remember it? Small gold stars fluttered. Doves flew gracefully around the calm blue sky. And there I have used a semicolon, can you see here, to split those two clauses. They are closely related, so I don't want to use a conjunction, I don't want to put a full stop, but that will link them. And we talked about the doves adding to that calmness, and that's how I wanted to link the ideas of the doves and the stars together. I'm going to start with securely holding the tent in place. Ropes with pretty patterned bunting encircled this magical space. And just before I finish, I decided to start that with a verb, but with an adverb, so it's holding it securely, it's not going anywhere, and started it with that verb. securely holding the tent in place, ropes encircled this magical space. And that word encircled, remember that was, I magpied that from yesterday's lesson as well, but not just the ropes encircled this magical space, but I'm going to use dashes there to embed that extra information with pretty pattern bunting. And again, that's what the author used yesterday, some dashes, so we're going to have a go at that too. And then I'm just going to finish my description with a short sentence to kind of link onto the next bit and bring it back to Leon. Leon couldn't wait to enter. And I'm going to end that with an exclamation mark because it's showing the effect it's having on him and also us. We want to know what's inside that tent and what's going to happen next. So just to focus then on the grammar side I've included. Let's go back to the top. So we started sentences with a verb, an ing verb, standing, included a simile, like a special statue, included an adverbial phrase, fronted adverbial at the top of the tent. I've also chosen some powerful adjectives to describe elements of the tent, like here, gold and delicate. And then finally, those dashes to add that extra information in and to embed it in. Okay, so as you can see there, that's the whole piece. It comprises of 2 paragraphs, and imagine that would be at the start of the story before Leon goes into the tent. So your task for today, I'd like to you first of all to gather your words and phrases, if you haven't done so already, to describe that tent. Can you sort them into adjectives, nouns, adverbs and similes? You might want to have a separate branch for each, or you might want to colour code, or you might just want to simply keep it like I did mine, which was when mine mapped around the image to start with. Then number 2, have a go at writing your own setting description for the tent. Can you go back and include any ideas which you magpied yesterday in your words and phrases you liked grid? And then just like I've shown you with my model and the bits I've highlighted, I'd like you to have a go at including those spag features. So I'd like to see powerful adjectives, fronted adverbials, a simile, and then a dash or a pair of dashes so you can embed that extra information. Some of you might, if you finish that, you might want to have a look at this, and at the end of the book, that tent image is there again. But the colours are so different, and we've got that almost image of Abdul Kazam in the air, and it's very dark and it's very mysterious. So I set this as a challenge. You don't have to do this, but some of you might want to, or at least start to think about it and talk about it. Can we make a comparison between the tent image at the start and at the end? What do we notice about the fantastic lenses now? Have those feelings changed? How would you describe the colours now? How would you describe those ribbons? They're still shown gold, but they're hanging, they're not fluttering in the wind. Those stars are still brightly gold, but leading out of the tent. You notice the ones standing proud on the top of the tent are now dark. Is that because the magic show's over and the magic is following them home? Maybe some of you would like to have a go at writing a description for this picture as well. And there you go, it's bigger there so you can see. Do we get a sense? Are we supposed to sense what the fabric's like here, or are we just expected to focus on those gold stars and Abdul Kazam? Okay, I'll leave it there. If you've got any questions, do ask, and I look forward to seeing you writing. Bye bye, Year 6.